Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome back to FaerieQuest and week 4 of the self-discovery journey with the fairies to find your soul purpose. Remember, at the end of this video, you will be able to see the actual photograph that the fairy on the card for this video was found in. And also, if there is anything that you want to know about the We Folk Toracles cards that I'm using for these videos, you can find that information in the description box below. We're going to get started shuffling here, and hopefully you had the opportunity to kind of take a look at the suggestion or the task that Tepe gave for last week, and that you've perhaps made some headway on her suggestion. So here we are going to split the cards. And we have this card here. And as always, we're going to start with impressions. Hopefully that can be seen. Here we have a child. And I swear to you, there are adults in this deck. It's very rare to get so many children week after week. So obviously, there is something very important about the child cards for the start of this spiritual discovery journey. So anyway, we have a child here, and we really can't see her body, but she kind of reminds me, with her little curly top and her dark eyes and her little button nose and chubby cheeks, she kind of reminds me of Shirley Temple. Which is interesting because Shirley Temple, her nickname in Hollywood was Little Miss Miracle. And if you think of children, children are always thought as miracles for us. They're gifts to us that we don't obviously get to keep forever, but they're wonderful, miraculous gifts. This child is also surrounded by other beings. There is a being here, and there is this, kind of reminds me of a sheep. And there's another little being up here, and then there's one down here. We can see this one's eyes, nose, mouth, wearing a hat, and with an ear that sticks out that direction. She seems very comfortable amongst these beings. It's obvious from the way that her eyes seem to be looking at that she can see them. And she just seems very comfortable, very natural, seeing, listening, and perhaps even talking to these beings, almost as though it's as normal as breathing to her. She also has kind of an ethereal quality to her, almost like being half in this world and half in another world. Or perhaps half in this world and half beyond the veil, so to speak. And I feel as though she's actually either telepathically conversing, or this little being here is speaking to her. And I say that because both have kind of a glow. It was the way that the sun was hitting, but it's specifically hitting these two as though they have a specific connection between them. So let's flip over and see what this being has to say. Her name is Clara, and her subject matter for this message is the unseen. She says, "No one thing is more real than another. Just because something is unseen, does that make it unreal? Before you decide whether something is real or not, based on whether you can see it or not, consider your thoughts. Can you see them? No is the answer, yet you know they are real. Whenever you are inclined to make a snap decision about the reality of things unseen, take a moment to consider all that you believe in that you've never seen. With the change, you might just see what you have never seen before." I find it so interesting how profound these young ones are in their messages. Okay, so I have found that oftentimes the fairies seem to kind of anticipate what's going on in our life. I know they do with me because I work with them, but I do believe it's a much broader perspective than just me. And I think that what Clara is sharing here is that perhaps you're considering not finishing this spiritual discovery journey because you feel foolish taking suggestions or tasks from fairies, which, for all practical purposes as an adult, don't really exist, or they're just mythical. There's no proof that they're there. Or maybe you told someone about what you're doing and they laughed at you or thought it was an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. So perhaps you are rethinking, whether this is worth your time, the 10 minutes per video that it takes each week, and whatever task the fairies are giving. What Clara is showing you here with her photograph, she's a child. And most children have no doubts as long as they've been given no reason to have doubts. Children believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and fairies and dragons, and unless they're told otherwise, that is an amazing exercise in imagination, an amazing joy for them. They're naturally innocent, they're loving, they're compassionate, and they're filled with wonder and awe over things that we fully take for granted. To them, it's amazing. It's sometimes you can't find words, for how wonderful things are for children. And in their eyes, nothing is impossible. In fact, I don't think that impossible actually exists in a child's vocabulary as long as they've not been tainted in any way to not believe or been told that, oh, that's ridiculous, that doesn't exist. Those words will put doubt in a child's mind as to what they're seeing, unless they're very strong-willed children. Then you'll never change their minds. But as adults, we analyze, we examine, we seem to need proof for absolutely everything. Yet we were children once too, and we were innocent and compassionate and filled with awe and wonder. And we didn't enter this life alone any more than what you're seeing on this card. We have guides, just as Clara has guides, and they speak to us through signs and synchronicities. If we're aware, and if we're doing the previous exercises from the 3 previous weeks, our third eye is starting to open, and those signs and synchronicities are going to be almost like a neon billboard that you cannot miss. And I think Clara is also reminding us that we are more than just the physical being we see in a mirror. We have an etheric body. We have a physical body. We have a soul. So I think the task that Clara is giving for this week, going backwards, we connect with the heart song, create/do what you loved as a child, if you've figured that out at this point. Allow yourself the time to do so, as Taipei suggested, and then start believing that anything is possible. See yourself as the miracle that you are. Embrace the unseen. Talk to your guides. Tell them what you want. Tell them what you need. Try to envision them in that third eye. Try to envision yourself talking to them through your third eye. But don't forget to listen. As you can see here, Clara is not speaking. It doesn't appear. We don't even see a mouth on her. She has one, certainly, but we don't see it, which tells me she's not speaking. She's listening. So don't forget to listen and see what happens. So that's it for week number 4. We will see you on week number 5, which will be kind of a special treat. So, see you then.